What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Planet Zoo. As always, if you guys are enjoying this series, make sure you leave a like on the video. It'd be greatly appreciated. Today, we're going to continue our work, our improvements to the capybara exhibit that we created 2 episodes back now. We're still working on it. It's coming along. It definitely is. Inspector has officially left. We got 3 stars, dude. That's huge. 3 stars education. We were at 1 for a long time, then we've been at 2 for a while now. 3 is monumental. Absolutely monumental. So in addition to continuing our, efforts on the capybara exhibit, I also want to start working on our next new exhibit for none other than the platypus. So I think I want to place that somewhere over here. We sort of have this, makeshift riverbank forming, so I'd like to try to utilize that and the foliage around there as best as I can. I think it'd be really cool if we could do an underwater viewing area. The only other animal that we have underwater viewing for at the moment, and it's not even that much, is going to be the small-clawed otters over here. So I would really like to add in yet another underwater viewing facility, and I think the platypus is going to be the perfect animal to sort of fit that mold. Before we get too carried away with zoo things for today, I do have a small announcement to make, and that is we got merch, baby. The Toogii web store is officially live. Link to that can be found either in the post I made here on YouTube or can be found on the Discord. But to commemorate the channel hitting 25,000 subscribers, which is massively thanks to all of your support, there are now 3 different t-shirts available. They will only be available for a limited time, so if you're at all interested, I highly recommend you jump on it fairly soon, because once they're gone, they will be gone. But that's going to be my one and only merch plug for this video, so let's get back to the zoo activities. I don't know how people can do merch plugs so effortlessly. That was high stress. That took multiple takes. So if I miss something, hopefully I can fill you in on the Discord. But let's go ahead and start here with the capybara exhibit. So we created, or I guess we just plopped in this little shack for their, covered shelter, hard shelter. So what I want to do is give them something a bit better, something a little bit more than just this wooden shack. Let's actually pause things, and we'll go ahead and delete that bad boy, Billy. Don't freak out, okay? Bebe and Mom, don't freak out. All right, we're going to give you a much better shelter. This is going to have to get moved, though, because that's going to be a little in the way. We'll just put it over there for right now. So my idea is I want to try to create kind of a modern-looking facility. We may end up using a similar look to like what we have on all of our other facilities. Time will tell. Time will tell. But I want to create a large box pretty much right in the center of this wall, and that way the capybara can have a place to sort of escape to if the guests are, giving them trouble, bugging them, whatever the case may be. Oh, dude, these rocks out here. So I placed these out here with every intention to place them back into the wall structure that we have. But then I just forgot. So I'm going to very quickly drag these on over and try to get them roughly into the position that they were before. They're a little lower now, actually, than they used to be. So we may even have to raise them up just slightly. I don't even remember how high up they were, how low they were. I think that looks okay. We can adjust each one individually, but that just helps break up the wall so it doesn't look as repetitive. It's certainly still repetitive, but it definitely helps. With our 3D rock wall facade thing now tweaked slightly, I think we're ready to try to figure out just the general shape of this thing. So let's see what 4 wide would look like in here. That's not too bad. I don't want the opening to be too large, though, so maybe we have the opening like offset. We'll figure it out. But 4 wide is definitely going to fit in here just fine. So we'll actually construct the thing now out here just so we have plenty of space to do so.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I have a 4x3 building completed now. Well, framework completed. There's no roof or anything. But I really do think I'm kind of leaning towards that boho-esque look yet again. I might even add a couple of windows on the backside here. Let's just do that really quick. Rotate those around. Let's do one on this side of the door and one on that side of the door. Of course, we just had some duplicate walls, so that looks much, much better. And then I think we'll bury it into this rock wall, like here-ish. So there'll be more room in the back than there is in the front. That way, you know, we're not taking up any of their prime real estate here inside the habitat. We're just giving them more just outside of it. So I'm cool with this for right now. We can add the roof once we actually get it all in place. We'll probably do the thatch roof, if I'm being real. But this, I would like to place like right about there. Not this height. We'll definitely be bringing it up slightly. Okay, I think I've got the wall height about where we need it. And then I've got it spaced out, I think, about as far as I would like that to be. It does look pretty nice here. So what we need to do next is, of course, get rid of the trees that are sort of inside of this facility. That is not ideal. Now that we have all the trees cleared out of here, we need to start working on this wall a little bit. So I think if I positioned it properly, we should be able to just get rid of the wall that's inside of this new building, and it might look good. We're gonna have to do a little bit of tweaking, of course, on like the ends and stuff. Wait, why am I doing it like this? Why don't we just do a group select? There we go. Yeah, that's way faster. Alrighty, now this one's gonna have to go bye-bye. That one, same deal. So this now over here, if it'll let me select that one. Come on. No, I want to edit the wall. Thank you. Let's delete that. Dude, it's just not letting me do it. Finally got it. Finally got the thing. We just need to slide it over until it stops clipping through the inside wall. There we go. That side finished. This one is actually way easier. We just have this big boulder, and that needs to go about there. I might actually rotate that around because the angle looks quite a bit better that way. And then we'll recenter it on that wall. That looks okay. And then bring it in just a little bit more. Or I guess bring it out just a little bit more. There we go. All right. This is great, dude. This is great. This needed to happen a long time ago, but we're finally getting around to it. So next, we need the flatten to foundation tool. Let's go ahead and make our size quite a bit bigger. Maybe up to like a 10 or something like that. But up here is pretty well flat. So what we need to do is continue to bring that terrain up to the same elevation all the way out in front of this habitat. Because, or I guess the habitat enclosure, their little habitat house here. Right out in the front, though, you'll notice we have a doorway there. That's going to be a secondary entrance for our keeper, assuming that they can actually use the thing. They do already have a little gate over here, but I think it'd be cool if we had like a path coming out this way, leading around back to a little staircase, you know, leading up to this door. I think that'll be cool. Who knows if we can get it to work or not, but I'm certainly going to try. Moving right along here to barriers. Now what we need is a door. Of course, filling this doorway so it looks a little bit normal, and so it actually functions as a secondary keeper entrance. That looks pretty good. I've just deleted the thing, dude. I do that all the time. Every time I try to place down one of these doors, I end up deleting it immediately. Looks like it's recessed pretty well. I'd say location-wise is definitely solid on that. So, adjusting this existing barrier might be a little difficult. Let's see what we can do here. Let's bring that maybe out to about there. And then this one, we're going to move to this corner. Because they're all like under the terrain. For whatever reason, I actually don't remember why we did it that way. I could just place down a brand spanking new barrier, but I do want to at least try to make this one work if we can. I think we might have actually did it, dude. I need the edges to line up a little bit better, but it is connecting to that door, as you can see there. So while it is under the terrain, I don't think the animals will get confused with, you know, knowing where their boundaries are. It should be pretty obvious. Let's see now what we could do with this path. It's definitely gonna go through, like right through a couple of these trees, but we can just move them after we get the path, you know, routed where we want it to go. So I'm going to bring it out just behind the tree line here so we don't have to remove as many. And then right up here, we're going to start turning it back into the left. And hopefully it connects up perfectly with right there. Let's drop down with the Explore camera mode so we can get a little bit better look at their exhibits. And then also the new staff path. That is 100% complete. Again, this is just like a secondary entrance for the keeper. I'm not even sure that they're going to use the thing, but it seemed like a good idea, and ultimately, I'm okay with that. But nothing beats this little gate over here, dude. It's way too cute. Now, before we put a roof on this bad boy, I think we should probably paint the terrain if we can, and just try to, you know, match a similar look to what they have out here, which I believe is heavy soil. So I am just going to plaster the inside of this thing with heavy soil. And we'll compare with the animals, of course, see what they actually would like. Maybe they now have too much heavy soil. So let's check in with Mom. We're probably going to have to play here. Oh, habitat boundary issues. Is that because I did the thing? They have become merged. What? What? You telling me I can't fix multiple habitat gates? You can't have multiple entrances? Since when, dude? Well, I guess we're just gonna have to do without the secondary keeper entrance. It's probably fine, right? I don't think the animals are really gonna mind much. And honestly, the keeper, like their hut is right here. There's way easier access into the habitat from that little gate. So not a big deal, but kind of a bummer because I did think it was kind of a neat idea. So let's get a new wall, and then I think we'll probably move these windows around. I don't know, we could leave that. We could leave that. Now, to put a roof on old girl. It's kind of unfortunate, but since we have sort of restarted all of our research now, we no longer have access to the thatch roof, nor do we have access to the roof that we've used on literally every other building in the zoo. So, for the time being, what I'm going to use is just a basic metal roof. It should be fine, but we'll start here by just placing some down on the corners. So after we, you know, do a little bit more research and unlock the thatch roof and the other roofs as well, then we could come back through and replace this if we really don't like it. But I think it'll look pretty good for the time being. It's really, really similar to the other metal roofs that we've used. It's just not the exact same one, so I'm not super upset about it. Here, we're going to want the flat one. Where is the flat one? Is this the one that blends in? Yes, it is. Well, maybe. Hang on, we got some weird gap there. If I remember right, there's also like a trim piece that we could place in there. Yeah, the roof ridge. And that might make it look a little bit nicer. Let's see. It doesn't not help, I guess. The only problem with it is there's going to be this weird, like, triangular gap on all four corners. But from a distance, she's a 10. Abso-freaking-lutely. So now what we need is, like, the corner eave, but we need to pick the right size one. That's just the straight eave. Here we go. We've got the corner eave. Get her rotated around. Brought up. And then here, again, the positioning gets a little weird, so I think that looks pretty dang close. We'll do all four corners with this one. Ooh, the edges on this kind of flare up. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, maybe I'm seeing things. I'm seeing things. Never mind. It was kind of looking like a temple. Well, from the underside, you can see it does definitely have a slight flare up. Anyways, not super important. Not important at all, actually. What we need now is the 2-meter flat eaves. Make sure that they are roughly the same height, and we can get these brought around as well. From the inside of this thing, it's obviously not super impressive, but what I want to do now is just add in some simple lights. I think that would help a ton. The 2 hanging lights that I placed in initially are probably more than enough light for a building this size, but I'm never satisfied, dude. We need all the lights. We need this place fully illuminated. Oh, that's more than enough. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're looking good, dude. So we've got light in here now. What we need next is a little bit of bedding for these animals. With any luck, these animals will just be over the moon. with their new little house in here. And hopefully their hard shelter is still being counted as hard shelter. That's great. Now that we have the roof on it, of course. But Mom's walking in here. She looks like she's gonna wind down and just take a siesta. Take a little snooze. That's looking great. We've got Bebe kind of creeping in. Michaela, and then other Bebe. That's Josue. Nice, dude. Nice. Okay, they love it. We do have fake windows on the building. I know not everyone's going to be a big fan of fake windows, but the whole point of this is so the animals can have a place to retreat to from the guests. You know, they don't want to be seen when they're in there, so I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that. The roof, like I said, we'll fix it when we can. I spent so much more time on that structure than I thought I was going to, and I completely forgot that I was still planning on doing a platypus, or at least starting the platypus enclosure here today as well. So I think that's what we're going to move to next. But the water is going to be our first hurdle with that. So because I want to do underwater viewing over here, we're probably going to have to get rid of this water at some point. If I do that right now over in this area, it's going to get rid of all the water throughout the entire thing. Even like the crocodile exhibit, completely bone dry. The gators are just, not gators, caimans are just, you know, free floating in midair. So what we need to do first to prevent that from happening is place the water back in. We're going to go into barriers, and then I'm going to place a temporary, maybe not temporary actually. Let's just place a glass barrier underneath this path if it'll let me. And then if it's low enough, but still high enough, we'll be able to delete the water around it. What I just said, I know makes no sense, but just trust me on this, okay? Give me a few minutes, we'll be able to make this all work.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
All right, check this out. So we have a glass barrier separating these bodies of water now, the rest of the river and the crocodile exhibit. So if we go into terrain and delete this water, it is all going to delete. However, if we come back into the crocodile exhibit now and place the water back in right there, that is the exact same height that it was before. The way you can tell is if you just get close to the crocodile, you can see they're still swimming at the exact same height. So over here now, still bone dry, which is exactly what we wanted. However, in this area, it is also bone dry. If I go in and try to place the water back where it was, it's going to say obstructed because the path here is actually in the way. So what I have to do, unfortunately, if we want this to work the way we need it to, is completely reconstruct the crossroads once again. This is going to be like my third or fourth time doing this. It does get really old, but you know what? It's a necessity at this point. So I'm going to tackle that, and I'll see you guys here in a few minutes. It's not exactly the same shape as it was before, and you can really tell when you compare it to the barrier for the crocodile exhibit. It's just a little wonky. Just a little wonky, but now that we have all the water columns separated, if we needed to, which we probably will again, we can delete this water and it'll leave all the other water in place, which is perfect. That's exactly what we needed. So what I need to do real quick is just reconnect all of the paths that we had before. This one's gonna be a little challenging, I guess. Now, to completely destroy our wonderful flat terrain, we're gonna turn on tunneling. Oh, one of our capybaras about to mature. That's exciting stuff. The game is paused at the moment, so we should be fine. But we're going to bring that straight down and then straight back up, just so it's flat, so we can take a look at what we need to do to the riverbed. Honestly, the height of the riverbed is pretty good already. We'll definitely have to go through and flatten it out, make sure it's the exact same height as our path floor there. That way we get the best experience for underwater viewing. But this is one of those things that really does take a considerable amount of time to accomplish, mainly because the terrain editing tool isn't really the greatest. It's good, it gets the job done, but to actually utilize it and utilize it well takes some serious effort. So I'm going to leave this tunnel here for right now, and then we'll go through, try to sculpt the terrain first, and then we'll place the path back in, not using tunneling. That way everything looks a little bit more in order.
Many, many minutes later.
Well, it's only taken me a whole additional hour, but I do think the final product we're left with here is pretty dang good. So the difficult part about terrain modification, especially when it comes to the paths, is making a staircase, or in this case, I decided to go just the ramp route. Staircases are like next to impossible to get the terrain like perfectly underneath them. But if you do a ramp, it's quite a bit easier. Usually if you have like a path up at a higher elevation and a path at a lower elevation, and you just sort of try to create a little bit of a terrain grade leading down, it'll usually allow you to place a path on top. And then if you have flattened terrain turned on, it'll make it nice and smooth all the way up or down. So hopefully that explanation makes at least a lick of sense. But I'm super stoked with it. I think it turned out fantastic. The only thing we need to test next is how we want to go about making the underwater viewing. You know, we could use the glass barrier, like what we have over here for the Asian small-clawed otters, or we could use actual glass pane walls. So I'm going to try the glass pane walls first. We'll try to add some water back in here, see if that's going to work. If not, we'll just resort to what we've been doing. Here we go. So the breeze block that I used isn't final. It's just a temporary block. Same with the glass. We're just simply testing to see if something like this would actually work. So if I were to commit to doing this, I would definitely add something to break up the glass a little bit. As much as I would like it to be just one big sheet of glass, it's always going to have these little lines in it. So just putting something in between each line is probably going to help it out a ton. But anyways, we're not worried about how it looks right now. We're simply just testing. So let's grab our water, and we're going to come right over here, try to place it. Okay, already off to a fantastic start. I have no idea why it's obstructed. Maybe because the path is too close to the water, I guess. Here's another good test. Do the walls actually hold water? Can they hold back water? The answer, they can't. We would be able to place water inside of these if we could, but obviously that's not working. So what we're going to try instead of that whole thing is just the basic barrier we've been using, which is going to be this glass one here. So let's start it down here. That way we can get the base height where we need it. All right, you guys, this time for sure, we've got a basic barrier constructed. Now we just have to bring the height of it up until it's just about flush with the terrain up there. I think that looks perfect. Actually, that looks really nice. And then it doesn't even matter what block we use for the actual construction of the facility down here. It'll just be whatever we want it to be. Anyways, let's put in our water now. And with any luck, we'll be able to place it at the correct height, and everything will be great. Okay, I've accidentally deleted it, but it does work. Check that out, dude. That is some serious underwater viewing. My God, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that's going to work out fantastic. And then if we need to do another break somewhere along down the line of this river, we can do pretty much the same thing that we did in between the Crocomagator exhibit and this one, and just make another little barrier to block it off. But I'm super pumped with that. That's already looking fantastic. We can just add in the fine details in the next episode and add in the animals, of course. But I do think that is probably where we're going to wind down this episode at for today. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, leave a comment, help support the dream by smashing that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.